Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Eco Insider TV. You see me look here. This is for my family on Instagram, and down here, my family on YouTube. So, whether you've been thrown into planning events or you've been planning events your entire life, events, no matter how well you script them, are just unruly, and things never go quite as planned. It's important to have a comprehensive game plan in place so you're prepared for every scenario. That way, you can adapt and be flexible and be able to come up with things on the fly whenever something happens. My name is Melody Dixon, and I'm the CEO and founder of Pro Event Planners, curators of eco focused events. I support clients who are steeped in all things sustainability. It's in their business, it's in their life, and it's also in their events. I also support clients who have no idea about sustainability, but they're just aware that there's some wastage going on and they need some support in that area. They notice the word sustainability is tossed around these days and it's on trend. So they want to figure out what it is. And so they reach out to me and I support them in that respect. Well, sustainability is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. I like to say God is expansive, God made us, we're therefore expansive because of that. And we use the resources we've been blessed with to create things, invent things, design things, start a business, all the ways that we can use the resources to live a fulfilled and elevated and big life. But I think we should do this intentionally so that we're not finishing all the resources before, you know, our time to go home to glory. We get to be intentional with it so that for the rest of our life, we have access to these resources and our kids have access, or grandkids, and people 10 generations deep will have access to the same resources so they too can be expansive and invent and create and design and all the things. Now, there are three pillars to sustainability. The first one is the environment. We get to reduce the use of what we already use, reuse what we have, and recycle. I like to squeeze in a fourth in this category, and I call that the upcycling. This is where you take things that would now appear to be at the end of their life cycle and they go into the landfill, in the junk, in the trash heap, but you get to use that same expansive power that God gave us to create something new. There's a company called Container Masters. It's a show that I recently discovered, and I use them as an example all the time. They start off the show by saying there's 140 million containers in the world, and a good portion of them are just sitting empty, idle because nobody's using it. So they take these containers and create tiny homes. So they're preventing the landfills from being broken down and dumped into the earth. And they're also providing shelter for people. And people use these homes as vacation homes, or they live in it if they're aligned with tiny homes, or do an Airbnb situation or Verbo or whichever one. They rent it out as a vacation home or temporary accommodations just to make some extra money. So they're being sustainable and it's making them money as well. So that's number one. Number two is economics. Repeating of the last one I said. Good morning, Crystal, baby. Lady of Harp has joined us. So happy to see you, my love. So we get to uh, take the empty containers that would have gone into landfill and make them into tiny homes or Airbnbs and rent them. So it's sustainable and it's making you money. In that whole process, you're hiring people. So you're giving jobs and people are having a business in order to support your dream of having the tiny home or the vacation rental. So it's sustainable and it's making you money and it's providing jobs. So that's the whole premise behind the economics of sustainability. Also, social responsibility. When we provide jobs for people, they're able to get a place to live, get food to eat, take care of their family, get health care. A part of social responsibility is we also create spaces for people to be themselves, however they show up in the world. You don't have to agree with it or like it or align with it. People get to just be. And then, however they are, the universe is going to connect with them on what that looks like or what that should look like, or however they get to be in order to be expensive. That expansive. That's not your business, so to speak. So we get to create spaces for people who are different, who look different, who speak different, who are into different things. And making room for people to be who they are is a part of social responsibility. Because if somebody is uh, oppressed because they're not given the space to be who they are, then they don't function well and they're in their head and it's noisy. There is condemnation, or there's anger, or there's sadness, or there's fear all up in here. And as you know, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if there's confusion and madness here, it's going to come out in their life and how they interact with people. And if they're on the job, it's going to come out in their work or lack of work or poor work. They could make mistakes that cost the company money. They could do things to harm themselves or harm others. So we just get to love our neighbors as ourselves, create the space, and then let nature and God do what it do. All right. So that's social responsibility. Today, we are unpacking the impact of a sustainable event. And I chose that today because yesterday I was just going through my LinkedIn and accepting uh, connections. And this one particular guy says he does balloon arches or uh, does balloon art for events. So I replied to him and said, my company doesn't align with balloons. We're an eco-focused and sustainable event planning company. But if you were to come up with some alternative eco-focused options to balloons, I'd be happy to connect. All right. Immediately he responded, well, most people discount balloons and without even knowing. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't want to do that. I know the harm that balloon does. Balloon is made from latex, and latex is poisonous. I mean, people are allergic to latex. However, latex shows up in your life, some people are allergic to it. And the little pieces of balloons and things can harm children because they'll try to bite the balloon, and birds will see it and choke on it. It lands in the ocean. It's colorful. It may be a reflective kind of balloon. Fish can't discern that it's a balloon or a jellyfish. So they eat it and they choke and die. It clogs the earth. It breaks down into tiny and more tiny pieces. I've seen balloons on the beach that I guess it's been there so long, and maybe the sun and the salt air and the seawater dries it out. So when you try to pick it up, it crumbles and it gets even tinier. So that means even smaller life forces or bugs or insects or whatever it is can now ingest the balloon and get harmed. So balloons are just not good. The end. Even if they say it's a compostable balloon, unless it's made from plants, and I haven't seen any balloons from plants yet, but that's an opportunity for somebody who wants to invent an eco-focused balloon that's made from plants. There you go. You're welcome. They have balloons that they say break down over time, and nobody has ever really seen how long it takes. Biodegradable balloons, that's the term of the balloons that they say break down over time. I don't know how long it takes to break down, or what that breakdown looks like, or why it breaks down, or what it does to the environment. So I choose to not do anything with balloons anymore. And when my clients ask for that, I explain to them in a professional and kind way and I don't really like cram it down their throat because it's their event. If they want to hire somebody else to do the balloons, then there's nothing that I can do. I can only say I don't provide that service and this is why, and that I can come up with some other options for balloons. And they can either take it or not. So because of my interaction with, and I didn't read the rest of his he gave me a whole paragraph of stuff. I just read the first few lines, and the way it started, I'm like, I don't want to, I'm high vibing right now. I don't want to ruin that. So I'm just declining his, request for connection. And that's fine. He can do his balloons. I cannot do my balloons. Now, as in-person events have experienced a resurgence over the past few years, COVID's just about done or manageable, and people are out in droves. We're humans. We love connection. We love in-person connection. We like to feel the energy of being in the same room with another person. We can hug and talk and laugh and notice the expressions and the winks and all the little expressions that make connecting enriching. And so we prefer to meet in person. There's been an increase in focus on events and their environmental impact. While research on event waste is scarce, many reach the same conclusion. Attendees at in-person events often generate a lot of waste, just over 4 pounds on average. So if you have a 100-person event, multiply that by 4. And as your number, like I went to a convention last week, it could be maybe 1,500, 2,000 people times 4 pounds per day, and it was almost like a 3.5, 4 day event, all day from like 8 until 5 for the first 3 days. The last 8 ended at 4, and then there was a concert in the evening. So it's just tons and tons of waste. What I liked about that convention was that they had, excuse me, some eco-focused elements. They had event apps, they had digital signage, they had minimal paper, no water bottles. They used compostable plates and forks and knives during the initiative. I think it was like a welcome reception on the trade show floor. It could be made from banana leaves or bamboo. It had a kind of look. And I loved that. All the little appetizer plates and the forks and the spoons were made from that material. So that sincerely reduced their carbon footprint. Now, it was a huge convention at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and people flew in from all over the world. So the carbon footprint from flying is huge. It's so bad. It's huge. And, people would have to take a cab from I think it's called the Henry Airport in Las Vegas to the Mandalay Bay, or to the Luxor, or to all the other hotels that are within walking distance. They would have to take a cab. And then if they decide after the convention to drive down the strip or take an Uber here and there, that's still more energy being used. So events really generate high carbon footprint. Now, I am going to share with you the reason why I think sustainable events are a must. Apart from describing all the wastes caused by events, I'm going to show you the benefits. 3 reasons why it pays to have a sustainable event as much as you can, because if you're having a big event as that convention was, it was for Choice Hotels, and there's Choice Hotels all over the world, and they not too long ago acquired Radisson, and they had some other hotels in their portfolio. So they're all coming in droves to attend this event. So it was pretty big, and the Mandalay Bay Choosing that venue was an eco-focused option because one, it's a huge convention hotel. It had hotel rooms, it had restaurants, it has a mall, it has the convention center, huge amounts of space. So once you get there, you really didn't have to leave. So that reduced the carbon footprint, unless you wanted to go, walk down the strip and see what's going on. So that in itself was an eco-focused step. So reason number one for having an eco-focused event or having an eco-focused business. 77% of consumers are, let's say, eco-focused business. 77% of consumers are more likely to support environmentally conscious companies. Companies are also more likely to consumers are more likely to trust and recommend brands with environmental missions. Day-to-day people understand what it means to love the environment. Even if they're all about the bling and being seen and all the things, they can tell that using less paper and less plastic is better for the environment. And in our spirit, in our subconscious, that resonates in a positive way with us. Even if outwardly we may not be that kind of person or may not want to join the trend, but in our spirit, we know that when we're kind to Mother Nature, we're loving on the planet, we're doing things that are kind to nature, then it feels good on the inside. So consumers will support companies that are aligned with that. If they had a choice between a conventional company and one that's eco-focused, providing the similar product, one is eco-focused, maybe fair trade or no chemicals or not tested on animals and all the things, versus one that is filled with yellow dye number 2 and all of the poisonous words that you can't even pronounce, people will often go for the one that is eco-focused and environmentally friendly. Reason number two, organizations with environmental and social governance related products can see up to 34% repeat sales over organizations without such policy. Now, the environmental and social governance, we call that the ESG in the sustainability space. This is where a company decides that they're going to include elements in their corporate culture, in their corporate policy that are sustainable and eco-focused. So if it's not fully sustainable, whereby they make sure everything is on point, it's at least eco-focused or eco-leaning. So they're starting the process. Yes, it does take money to start the process, but they're leaning in that direction. They may start off with reducing the amount of paper and maybe use some tech instead. And tech could be Google Docs. It could be a WhatsApp group. It could be Google Meet, Zoom, Teams, versus having an in-person meeting when your staff is having their day off, but it's a mandatory meeting. Instead of having them drive into the office to this meeting, they can just join by Zoom, Teams, or Google Meet. And that's saving money, saving time, saving energy, and it's kinder to the planet. Yes, the tech does generate some CO2 because you're using the computer and all the things, but it's less than if you had to get dressed, get in your car, pay money for gas, drive in traffic, reduce fumes in the air, go to work, sit through the meeting where you're bored off your mind, and then drive back. So it makes sense to have these elements of eco-focusedness in your business. For an entrepreneur, that could definitely look like using these techs. WhatsApp, Zoom, Teams. If you're a planner, you can use RSVPify to manage your RSVPs for events. You can use Evite. If you're managing menus and communicating with a lot of people, you can use Potluck, is another app. There's so many ways to be eco-focused. So that's reason number two. Because you have that in your business, there's like a 34% repeat sales for you because people are aligned with that, and they will just keep you on speed dial. You already align with what they're aligned with. You already offer the service that they want. So whenever they want this particular thing, they're gonna go with you because you're guilt free. Guilt free. And people have a lot of guilt already going on here. So why not listen? Reason number 3. From about 2017 to 2022, 89% of consumers shifted towards more sustainable shopping and lifestyle. So, yes, it's on trend, and maybe that could be the reason that people are getting information across their feed on social media. It's, the algorithm does what the algorithm does. If it's on trend, they want to get more eyes on a particular thing, they'll send it in your feed. And if you stop and watch it a little bit, or if you share it, they'll send more and more to your feed. And when you're exposed to that information, you get curious. You may say, okay, how am I living? What am I wasting? And it can be something as simple as you're walking out of a room. Instead of walk out of the room with the light left on, you may turn it off before leaving the room because a seed was planted in your mind. And before you know it, you're asking the people in your household to turn off the light if they're not using it, turn off the TV if you're not watching it. All those things, don't leave the fridge door open. And before you know it, you're bringing your own grocery bags to the store instead of getting the plastic bags or the paper bags there. Or you're not even getting plastic bags, you're only getting the paper because you can shred that up and put it in your garden to kind of fluff up the soil, or you could reuse it. So there's a shift, and it's growing, and now is the time. If you're looking for ways to make your business eco-focused or your events eco-focused, let's connect. My name is Melody Dixon, and I'm the CEO and founder of Pro Event Planners, curators of eco-focused events. My email address is info@myproeventplanners.com. So let's just do this quick little recap. Reason number 1 for having a sustainable business is 77% of consumers are more likely to support environmentally conscious companies. Reason number 2, organizations with environmental, social, and governance related products can see up to 34% repeated sales over organizations that don't have that. And number 3, from 2017 to 2022, 89% of consumers shifted towards more sustainable shopping and lifestyles. Now, to manage all of this could be a lot without having all the knowledge at your fingertips. If you're having your event, do you want to do research as well, trying to figure out how can I make sure that there's water at the event, or what ways can I reduce paper at the event while you're writing your keynote speech or while you're managing your guest list? That's where I come in. I sit with you and talk about your event, what you want to see, who you want to invite, what you want the look and feel to be like, what's your message, what's your branding, and what's the budget. And I take your wish list and kind of meld it together with your budget, and I hit the ground running so that you don't have to. There's a link in the bio for Instagram and in the description of the live for YouTube that goes to my website and my events packages page. Click on the Pro Event Package. That's my hashtag hire it done for you. I will take care of all the logistics behind making your event eco-focused and sustainable so that you can focus on getting your guest list together, or getting your outfit, or preparing your speech and rehearsing, or preparing your sales pitch, or all the things you need to do that don't involve planning the actual event. So I give you back your time, I give you back your peace of mind, so you don't have to worry about, is this going to be correct, is this sustainable? Because let me tell you, there are investors out there that only want to invest in startups or companies that are eco focused. They only want to do that. If you're looking, I have a whole list of grants and investor opportunities for companies that are eco focused. If you're interested, email me at info@myproeventplanners and I can send this to you. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's Saturday. Yay! I may see you tomorrow, maybe from outside in the garden and do something, eco focused out there and showcase that. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you on the next Eco Insider TV. Take care. Crystal, thank you so much for joining me today.